When your cat suddenly takes over your space, your routine, and even your emotions, do you actually know what they are trying to say? Yes, it feels chaotic, maybe even overwhelming at first, like your life just got interrupted. But behind that sudden change, there is something deeper that most people miss. It is one of the most emotionally loaded things a cat can do. And if you misunderstand it, which most people do, you might miss what they have been trying to build with you this whole time. Let us start with what this takeover really means. Most people think when cats take over your home, your bed, your schedule, it is just inconvenience or bad behavior. But here's what is actually happening. They are not taking over your life, they are integrating you into theirs. When a cat enters a new space, they do not just exist in it, they reshape it around safety, control, and familiarity. Behavioral scientists have observed that cats adjust their environment to reduce uncertainty and stress. So when those two cats slowly started changing everything in her life, it was not chaos, it was structure. Think about that for a second. What felt like disruption was actually them trying to create a world where they could feel safe. And by the way, if a cat ever starts following you into every room or changing your daily habits, do not brush it off. We'll come back to what that really means later, and it is something most people wish they understood sooner. Here's what most people don't realize. A 2020 study from animal behavior researchers showed that cats actively map human routines and adapt their behavior to align with them. But what the study also revealed is more important. Cats who successfully integrate into human routines show lower stress levels and stronger attachment behaviors. In simple terms, your cat is not just adjusting randomly, they are learning you.
That is not small. That is trust at its highest level. It means they feel safe enough to let their guard down completely. Now, there is something important you need to notice. If that takeover suddenly stops, if the cat pulls away, stops following, stops claiming space, that change matters. Cats do not withdraw without reason. It could be stress, discomfort, or emotional distance. Behavioral scientists have observed that withdrawal is often one of the first signs something is wrong. Think about that carefully. When presence disappears, it is communication. So if that connection fades, do not ignore it. Pay attention. Because what is missing can say more than what was there before. So when a cat comes into your life and seems to take over everything, do you actually know what it means? It is not disruption. It is not inconvenience. And it is not something random. It is connection, trust, emotional safety, and shared identity, all happening at once. That is not a cat changing your life. That is a cat choosing to build one with you. And that takeover you thought was too much, it was never too much to them.
It evolves. Studies on domestic cats reveal that adult cats carry these early bonding behaviors into their relationships with humans. So when those cats took over her space, her bed, her routine, they were not being invasive. They were recreating the safety they once knew. Think about that for a second. The same instinct that kept them alive as kittens is now being directed toward you. But here is the deeper meaning. They are not just living with you, they are attaching to you. Here is something most people never realize. Cats do not do this with everyone. They do not take over every home, every person, or every space. Cats are selective. They observe first. They decide later. Think about that for a second. Out of all possible environments, they chose to fully integrate into hers. Not because they had no choice, but because it felt right to them. A cat that does not trust will stay distant and detached. A cat that trusts will expand into your life. So when those two cats slowly took over everything, it was not random. It was a decision. This is what most owners never realize. When a cat fully takes over your space and relaxes into it, they are doing something that goes against their survival instincts. Cats are wired to stay cautious and independent. But in that moment, They choose comfort over caution. They choose presence over distance. They choose you. And remember earlier when I said if a cat starts changing your habits and following your routine, do not ignore it? This is what I was talking about. That behavior is not control. It is connection. Think about that for a second. A naturally independent animal choosing to revolve around your life.
Animal cognition research shows that cats can recognize patterns, tone, and predict human actions over time. Now here is the emotional translation. When those cats started changing her daily life, they were not being intrusive. They were synchronizing with her. Think about that for a second. Your life becomes their reference point, and your presence becomes part of how they understand stability. Now let us go deeper into something invisible but powerful. Cats rely heavily on scent to claim safety and belonging. When they sleep on your bed, sit on your clothes, or take over your favorite spot, they are not just choosing comfort, they are leaving invisible marks. Researchers who study feline behavior call this scent marking through contact. But here is what that really means for you. They are blending their identity with yours. You are not just sharing space, you're becoming part of their territory. Think about that for a second. Every place they take over becomes a place where your scent and theirs exist together. And that creates a shared environment of trust. And hey, if this makes sense to you, hit like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat lovers who actually want to understand what their cat is really saying. What makes this even more meaningful is where it comes from. As kittens, cats rely on proximity, warmth, and shared space to feel safe. They cluster together with their mother and siblings. They learn that closeness equals survival. That instinct never disappears.